My dog's about to come back in, and I'm ready to roll.
All right, cool. No problem.
One sec.
Yep. Dude, it's the day after the election, so I've been up all night long
God,
watching
haven't we
this.
all, man? What a stressful
Dude,
24 hours and more to come.
yeah, I don't think there's going to be an official decision until maybe this weekend, something like that.
Yeah,
Just because those
I
mail-in
think we
votes.
got a couple days, man. I think you're right.
But here's the cool thing about this, and we're doing this the day after the 3rd. So, like, now we would know who the president is. But now we're waiting. And I was doing some because I was watching CNN and I was curious. I was like, I want to know how close these guys are to doing it. And so literally, if you look at Biden, he's got Nevada and Wisconsin and Michigan. All Trump has to do right now is take one of those and it's over with. But Biden can easily maintain that stamina and it'll be over with. So it's like and it's like
exactly.
They're not. And because I remember last year when Trump and Hillary went at it, like Trump won by like a disastrous amount. This year it's going to be like 1.3%, and I'm like, it's nuts,
Dude. It's historic for so many reasons, right? But I think you're right. I think Nevada might be really interesting coming down to the wire. And I don't know about Michigan, and I'm not going to ask where you stand on the whole thing, but yeah, it's going to be. I think we can agree it's going to be historic, and what a crazy year. And anyways, man, how you doing? Great to meet you and connect.
You too, man. I'm doing okay. Like I said, been up all night doing the thing, but no, it's good to take a break. It's good to take a break and to actually do this podcast, which we weren't scheduled to do today. But then you were like, "Hey, I have some time today." I was like, that actually works better for me because next week's a little booked, and I'm like, let's go for it.
Dude, I appreciate it, and I'm the same way. Fortunately, I'm doing some shows this weekend, and I get back early Monday morning. Okay. So I wanted to be. I'm crystal clear today, and if you were flexible, I was. So I'm glad this worked out, man, and thanks for hitting me up.
Yeah, and I hope my audio sounds okay to you, and also to the listeners. I've been having some trouble with my microphone the past couple of days, and I'm just like, I'm gonna have to go off the laptop microphone. It's just giving me trouble, man. But hopefully, I'm sounding okay.
Sounds good, man. Crystal clear.
Because there will be some episodes where it's just like I'm sounding like I'm in a fish tank. Like it's just like, oh no.
Nah, man, you're good to go.
So where are you at? Nashville?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Yes, sir. How about yourself?
I'm in Mississippi, small town in Mississippi nobody would even heard of. So
I hear you. Yeah, man, we got a pretty day in Nashville. It's about 60 and sunny. Just took the dog out. He's having a blast out there, and all is well, man.
It's not too cold, and it's also not so hot you can't stand it. I mean, it's just I'm a bigger guy, so as you can tell, but I just love the cold weather. Like I can bundle up as much as possible. I hate the hot weather, man, just because big people, we sweat a lot.
Dude, I love it all. I love the seasons of I grew up in Georgia, and we definitely have the 4 seasons, which is really nice, and Nashville does too for the most part. We see a little more snow here than back home in middle Georgia, but yeah, dude, it's perfect right now. I love this time of year as we're kind of in the middle of fall.
Yeah. Have you done a podcast before?
I have. I've done a few, yeah.
What are some of those? I'm just curious.
I'm a big golfer, so I've been on a few golf ones. One would be the Tour Junkies. Okay. Yeah, man, I've done a few the past few years.
Golf. I've played it probably twice in my life, and I'm almost 23. So, like, I have a lot of time to do it, but I don't know if I have the patience for it because that's a game of just patience, and you have to be out there all day long. Plus, you have to dress nice.
Not all courses. They're getting a little more lenient, trying to grow the game. And it's never too late to start. It definitely takes some some time and patience and all that. But man, it's a lifetime sport. So I was fortunate enough to start playing at a very young age, which definitely helps, like anything.
Mhm.
But yeah, you gotta give it a try, man. It's never too late.
So you grew up in Georgia, is that right? Greensboro?
That's right, Greensboro, Georgia.
There must have been a lot of golfing there because you had a passion for that as well as music.
Yeah, it was my first love. My dad was in the golf business. He uh he managed a few courses around Lake Oconee, which is in Greensboro, and we're so close to Augusta, which of course the biggest tournament, the Masters.
Right.
I say the biggest tournament. In my opinion, it's the biggest and best tournament.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, growing up so close to Augusta and around so much great golf around Reynolds Lake Oconee, they have like I don't know 100 holes of golf. So I was really a fortunate kid to be able to grow up around that. And yeah, that was my first love. I mean, I have pictures of me with I can barely hold up the club. I'm like
Yeah.
2 years old. So
Well,
uh,
it's what's weird because you and I are both in the music industry, just doing different things. Like I'm doing a music-based podcast, etc. Or just entertainment genre. And it's weird because your first love was golf and not music, and my first love was wrestling and not music. And a lot of people you hear, music was my first love. And so it's cool to see the differentiate. Like, okay, I don't have to be the same people. Like, it's cool to meet somebody else that no, music wasn't my first love. There was something else before music.
oh, absolutely, man. I music was definitely my second love, but starting with golf and the discipline that takes has served me really well in the music business. There are a lot of parallels, I think, with athletics and the music business. So that was really great, and I'm sure you see some parallels with wrestling and the dedication it does take and the time it takes again to see results as you're striving to your
Yeah.
goals.
I use wrestling as probably, in my opinion, one of the best sports to compare to the music industry because it's just so constantly evolving. Because I mean, I guess you could say the thing about football, but kind of aren't the rules kind of the same thing? Like now in wrestling, like they're going, you're not a wrestler unless you're going up 50 feet in the air and jumping down, and it's like people hate that now, and it's like people hate music now, and it's like I compare the two a lot because it's like you have to evolve in order to capture a new audience in a certain type of way. Because like take jazz or blues music for example, I don't really hear that no more. It doesn't really evolve.
Right. What do you mean people hate music now?
Well, man, you know how the older generation are that grew up in the '90s. They're like, I hate the music now. This music is not country. This music is not
Yeah.
rock. It has,
Yeah. Nah, man. I
you
and I
know those
get that.
people.
They had so much great
Yeah.
music in the
Oh,
70s and
absolutely.
80s and stuff that I still listen to. No, I hear you there, and yeah, I've heard a lot of those comments. Um, but yeah, I could see what you're saying about wrestling too. I mean, I grew up watching WWF and
Yeah.
all that stuff, WCW, and I have an appreciation for a lot of friends in high school were wrestlers, and the talent you guys have is really amazing. Just the coordination and moves and the leverage and all that stuff. Which I wasn't never a wrestler, so I'm probably saying all the wrong things, but I have an admiration for your sport as well.
What was the hardest thing? Because I know it's different for different musicians, but what was the hardest thing for you to pick up on as a musician?
Well, I wasn't like I didn't have like all of the gifts of like singing. I was more of like a songwriter initially. I knew I wanted to write songs. Like I learned how to play guitar. I learned that pretty quickly, and I worked really hard at it.
Hmm.
Um, but I wasn't like blessed as a singer. Started when I was like 13 or 14, so the voice was changing anyway around then, right?
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, man, I kind of had to really work at singing and finding my voice, and that took a long time for me. And I really didn't get frustrated with it. I was in like a high school rock band and around really great musicians that were better than me, which I think is really, really great, and that helps you grow so quickly. And I had a lot of great mentors too. So I guess singing would be the answer. The thing I'd work most at. You know, songwriting came a little more natural. Uh, you know, I wrote my first song when I was like 13 or 14. I'm not saying it was great, but like
Yeah.
I kind of understood structure and what a verse is, what a chorus is, what a bridge is, and how a song comes together, right?
And it's weird for me because I thought, growing up, when you write a song, you're writing it from the first word to the last word. But, doing these and able to get behind the music in the background, you're like, no, sometimes the bridge comes first. Sometimes somebody just says, oh, let's do a dandelion in a forest, and that transfers to a whole different song. So it is kind of cool to see that. And I understand the songwriting thing because I imagine you're 8 years old. You don't really have the mental capabilities to stay on point at certain times. Like you can write about a truck and then wind up talking about your dog. Somehow your truck run into a dog, and it's
Well, that sounds like a good country song right there, man.
it does, man. So
Gotta have the truck and dog in it. Like David Allan Coe says that in the song. But yeah, you're right. It you never know where a song starts. It might start with a melody.
uh-huh.
I have this phone on me at all times for so many reasons, but to have that voice memo, if I get a melody in my head, maybe that'll evolve into something real. Maybe it'll evolve into a verse or just a song idea. So as a songwriter, you're always thinking, and I think being observant is one of our most important jobs.
I have this app on my phone, and I can't think of the name of it, but like every time a song will come on, I'm like, oh, that's a catchy song. I need to listen to it. I'll put my phone up to the speaker and like, what is this song? And and I'm just such a big music nerd. So I wonder, with you being in the music industry, are you necessarily a music connoisseur? Or are you just like, I listen to music as it comes and goes?
Well, it's definitely changed for me personally. I definitely still love music now more than ever. I have a huge appreciation for a great song. I grew up
Sure.
listening to literally all genres, maybe outside of like jazz, which I have a huge appreciation for now as I get older. Um, but yeah, man, I definitely listen to the radio still. I'm always
Hmm.
trying to discover new music, um, not necessarily even country, but my
Yeah.
brother's still my biggest influence as far as like a music lover. So he's always like ahead of the curve. Remember he just 2 years ago, he's like, you got to check out Tyler Childers, man. This guy's like the best before anyone knew about him. Right. So
Yeah.
that's always fun for me to kind of have that bond with my brother. So I'm definitely a connoisseur, always looking and listening and studying. It's I feel like I understand the craft so well now that I listen a little differently, maybe, but
Hmm.
still just love it, man. I love it all.
Two kind of back-to-back questions. One, what is Eric Dodd the musician like?
Eric Dodd, the musician. Um, well, that's a really great question. I love the band setting. I have a really great band here in Nashville that some of the guys have been with me for 10 years. Well, my bass player, Bill Peters, has been with me since high school. So we've been playing music together for 15 years, man. So it's pretty crazy. Um, so I love the band environment. I would call myself a musician, and I understand how a band works and how everyone complements each other and how a song kind of comes together. It starts with me
Mhm.
and an acoustic guitar, but I love working up a song with a band. So um, I don't know, man. I love saying that I am in a band, even though I'm a solo artist. If that makes sense.
Okay, what is Eric Dodd? No longer the musician. I'm just a stay-at-home type of guy. What kind of guy is that? What I want to know that Eric Dodd, not the personal side, but you get me. Because
Yeah, no,
you're talking about music all the time on these type of shows. So my type of show is
absolutely.
we're going to talk about it, but we're not going to ask the same questions or the same answers that everybody gets every time.
Yeah, man. These days I'm really a homebody, and I guess everyone has been this year, but Before that,
Yeah.
I can definitely be a little introverted, and I love, I have my wife, my dog. We're pretty chill. Typically I'm on the road on the weekends, but during the week we're laying low. We're cooking every single night. We're having an occasional adult beverage, sometimes too many.
Well,
Um,
what's your signature dish you can make? You're like, somebody asks
ah,
you, Eric, I need you to cook, and you're like, oh, I know one thing I'm gonna cook because this is what everybody loves.
Man, there's an awesome butcher shop right here in Nashville called Porter Road Butcher. So my
Okay.
brother was in town this past weekend, and man, what a great place! We got these pork chops and do caramelized onions on the pork chops.
Okay.
Um, we do roasted broccoli, little baked potato. Uh, it's the best, man. And last night I did a steak with some roasted carrots and a little salad. My wife makes a really great salad, so we're always trying new things. But we kind of have our half dozen staples around the Dodd household.
Yeah. Where'd you learn to cook from? You just pick it up from experience, or you just tried it one day and you're like, oh, this is what I like, or did you have like a grandma that's like, hey, come sit down, I'm gonna teach you how to cook?
I wish I had a grandma story, and my grandma is a great cook, and my mom is too. But I didn't have to cook growing up; they were so good.
Yeah.
But my wife and I really have a great bond. The answer is she taught me how to cook. I didn't know anything.
Okay.
I mean, I could kind of grill, but
Uh-huh.
like if you're gonna tell me to roast some potatoes or broccoli, whatever, I had no clue. Um, so I've learned a little more in depth in cooking just from my wife, and she's really, really great.
It's like me. I can't grill worth a crap, but I can get in there and I can cook up a storm. And it's kind of, sure, you do learn here and there, but it's kind of, you have to get in there and actually teach yourself, because if not, you're not going to do anything.
Oh, for sure. It takes time, and there's so many. I've read a lot about it, and YouTube has everything you ever want, right? When
Yeah.
in doubt, go to YouTube, Google it, whatever. So that's always a great resource. But yeah, it takes practice. Have fun on the grill, man. Like I've messed up so many things and whatever. That's just part of it. But I think that's the fun in it, and the craft of cooking.
So from Greensboro, Georgia, how is that different than from Nashville? Because I've never been to Greensboro, so I don't know if it's similar
Yeah,
or different.
Greensboro's a lot different than Nashville.
Okay.
It's probably about a tenth the size. Um, it's a small little town. There's kind of a dichotomy to it because there's a small little quaint town downtown, and then there's a beautiful lake called Lake Oconee, and there's a ton of golf. Everything's kind of around this resort called Reynolds Lake Oconee, and there's Cuscawilla down there too. But yeah, I grew up on the lake. A lot of fishing, a lot of golf, a lot of outdoors activities, and there's also a lot of culture for such a small little town. Um, it lies like 70 miles east of Atlanta, 70 miles from Augusta. There's a little college about an hour away called the University of Georgia, so that's cool. So it's a really a sweet little spot, really convenient to everything. Obviously, you have Atlanta major airport so close, and
Mhm.
uh, one of the best football teams, arguably, for a long, long time. And I graduated from UGA, and my wife is from Athens, which is like an hour
Okay.
from where I grew up. So it's a small town, but we have access to so many great things, and of course, um, all the great golf and lake life around me.
I wonder, being from like a country type of atmosphere, being in the city, was there kind of any homesickness feel because you're so used to being out in the country and it's just in one big city?
Absolutely. I try to go home as much as possible. Haven't been able to enough this year. But yeah, holidays we definitely get home, and we will. but yeah, being in the city, it's so different. I mean, there's an excitement to it, obviously with Music Row and the country music scene here in
Mhm.
Nashville. Um, but there's such a peace, uh, such a peaceful feeling being back home, obviously around family, but also just the change of pace from the city and like a little less hustle, a little more like laid back, chill, which I love. Hopefully one day we get to move back to a small town or back home. But for now, we're in the city, and I love Nashville. I mean, there's obviously so many great things about this town and city, and such an energy and excitement to it, especially with the growth going on and all the great things going on in the music scene here.
I want to know, and if I get too personal, just don't ever answer the question. That's what I tell people. But obviously, you're an independent artist at certain stances. You could say that, and a lot of people aren't getting to tour now. So is that kind of, are you having to pick up other jobs here and there to pursue yourself financially? I mean, because nobody's doing anything. I mean, it's not like you're Garth Brooks, for God's sakes. You don't have,
Yeah.
you're not $100 million net worth.
I just had a friend, great conversation last weekend. I've been fortunate these past few months that I've played a lot of really small private shows.
Okay.
So that's been great. And I don't see like how Kenny Chesney or Garth Brooks could do that. So in one way, I'm really fortunate to be independent and to kind of control my own destiny. And I mean, I love playing live music. Like that's what I do. Um, so that's been a real blessing that I've, kind of built my career around small venues, um, playing small little events, whether it's a corporate event or whatever. So to
Mhm.
answer your question, that's really been a blessing for me. Of course, I'm ready to get back like full time playing every single 3-4 days a week. But on top of that, I've started an apparel company with a couple
Okay.
friends. It's called Ashore Apparel, which will be launching in spring of 2021. So check that out when it comes, please. And I'm also working with other artists on a deeper level. I'm co-producing a female artist named Ansley Davidson. She's fantastic. She's from Georgia, so we had a bunch of mutual friends back home and finally met. And she's super talented. We did a show together about 6-8 weeks ago at Red Clay Music Foundry in Duluth, Georgia, and we sold it out. Of course, the crowd couldn't be what the theater holds, but we had a blast, and
Mhm.
she's just incredibly talented. So getting to work with younger artists and kind of help mentor them a little bit has been so much fun, and just kind of a new paintbrush for me as a singer songwriter, and hopefully mentor. I can kind of tell her the mistakes I made along the way and save her a little time. And it's been a blast launching this apparel company and being creative that way. So yeah, man, I consider myself really fortunate um, to be able to sustain, and like you said, to not have to get a job outside of everything I love. But I've worked hard to be able to do this.
Yeah. So I got a couple of questions for you, and then we'll move on about producing. But real quick,
Yeah.
tell the listeners that may not know what it means when you produce music.
Yeah. So the first thing, Ansley Davidson and we started writing songs together. And I think that's really important. And a lot of producers in town in Nashville do, co-write
Sure.
with artists, just to get to know the artist, to hear their story, what they want to say, what they want to sound like. And I think that's what producing really is. And I'm co-producing this with my friend Jesse Triplett, who is such an accomplished musician. He's with the band Collective Soul, so
Okay.
he hasn't been able to tour. Really big rock band, and he's been my mentor as far as the production side. And we're just trying to find Ansley's sound and who she is as an artist. It's going to be her first release, so we're just trying to trying to kind of dig deep into what it means sonically for her. What's the instrumentation for each song, and to make sure she's extremely happy about the direction.
So my questions would be, one, I have a production company that, for podcasts and stuff like that. I plan to branch out sooner, but I find it kind of hard when you have two people, the podcast host and me as a producer, that are really adamant and love the business so much that we wind up butting heads a lot. And it's like, no, I want to do it this way. Well, for me, from experience, the producer, you should do it this way. And then it's like, you got to let that person learn then, because they're not going to do anything, but they're going to screw up and they're going to be like, you were right. So is there been times where you're just like, you just have to say, screw it, do whatever, do it your way, and you're going to learn and you're going to figure out the hard way?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of lessons to be learned in making mistakes, and a lot of discovery there. But I'm new to being on this side of the board, so to speak. I'm used to being the one recording vocals and doing all that. So getting to again, help mentor folks like Ansley, just been incredible. And she is so just open-minded and is soaking everything in. So I haven't really had to have any tough conversations or anything yet, and hopefully won't. But I think she's really appreciative of Jesse's knowledge and what I bring to the table as a songwriter and all that stuff. But I hear you. Of course, there's you got to learn from your mistakes and see that someone else might know a little bit more than you.
Mm-hmm. From a songwriter standpoint, is there anyone you look up to?
Yes, so many songwriters in Nashville. Some I've gotten to write with some of my heroes, like Tony Martin, who wrote "Just to See You Smile" by Tim McGraw, unbelievable song. Michael Heaney, he wrote a bunch of the early Eric Church stuff and is still writing with Eric Church. We wrote a song of mine called "Crazy Good." I'm going to try to release the beginning of the new year. Just the two of us wrote it, and it's just like a songwriting workshop every time I write with these kind of veteran guys. Bruce Wallace here in town we've written probably 50, 60 songs together. He's had songs recorded by Trace Adkins, all kinds of people, Dierks Bentley. And man, it's just such a wealth of knowledge to be able to write with the guys that have been doing it for so long. And you just kind of sit back, of course, say what you need to say, but once they're on fire, you kind of let them go and start taking notes, so to speak. But yeah, Nashville, I think, has the best songwriters in the world, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. So yeah, a lot of us here, and a lot of really, really great ones that I aspire to be to that level one day.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but I just want to ask one question about it. Is you have a friend that is on Bobby Bones show. They played a couple of songs. Did you figure out that there was a lot of did you find more audience members once they played, a song or two from that?
Oh, for sure. My friend Susan Raymundo.
Yeah.
He just got married a couple weekends back, which I'm so happy for he and Laura. They're really dear friends. But Ray and I have written a couple songs together. We kind of wrote the first one. It was called "Vacation." It's just kind of a joke and a bit.
That is the jam, though.
Ray.
That is the jam.
We had so much fun with that. That was our first song we wrote right here in my living room with Bruce Wallace, and we did a music video for it, which was a blast, which White Claw got behind, and Ray was kind of the brains behind saying, man, we got to put White Claw in there. This is like a year and a half ago before White Claw was what it is now. But you
guys got Kelly Bannon on that as well, didn't you?
Kelly Bannon, great singer, great songwriter, and she's doing so many awesome things now. And she was kind to lend her voice to that song, which took it to a different level. But of course, man, Bobby Bones show is huge. I'm friends with some of those guys, and yeah, I can definitely see a spike in my audience when Bobby mentions my name or plays a song that
But that
I'm the
has to be
artist
cool
on.
though, as much as, because I'm pretty sure, because I've kind of been in that predicament. You don't want to get famous because you know a friend that is someone that could do that. You know what I mean? As an
Yeah,
independent artist, you worked too hard to do that, but I can imagine, because it probably feels uncomfortable for someone to just say, "Hey, you know what I mean?"
yeah, I'm not uncomfortable about it at all, and I don't think Ray is. I think it's been just kind of fun and absolutely exciting for me um, to have a song I wrote and I'm singing on the radio. I mean, that's the dream. That's what I've been dreaming of since I was, you know, knee high to a grasshopper. So, um, yeah, I think having Ray support, and he's in the industry, he gets it. Um, we're just friends. I don't ask him for anything, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's
obviously,
really organic. And he's had fun just writing songs with me, and I've learned more about the radio thing from him. So, it's just an education, and um, I don't feel at all uncomfortable about it. I think it's been fun, and it's been fun to see the Bobby Bones Show listeners kind of take
Mhm.
the vacation and the song we wrote for Laura, Ray's now wife, for their wedding, which Ray wanted to call Ray and Bay's wedding song. I don't know if you heard it on the show, but man,
Dude,
it's been fun. And
I'm
I
a daily
felt,
listener. I'm a daily listener.
yeah,
That's how I know who you are. Honestly, that's how
yeah,
I know who
that's
you
cool.
are.
Well, there you go, man. Well, of course, it's grown my audience, and I appreciate any help,
Oh
whether it's
yeah,
from a friend that works at a
right,
radio show or
right.
you bringing me on this podcast. I'm just trying to spread my music in a positive way.
Well, I don't have the best questions. I'm not the best interviewer, and I don't have the biggest audience. But I'm glad you took the chance on to come on.
Man, I've enjoyed it, and you're killing it, man. I got to listen to several of your episodes, and our buddy Spencer Crandall is on a few months back,
That's
maybe, right?
right. That's right.
I love
Long time
Spencer.
ago.
We've written maybe a year ago about the
Mhm.
when he released the More record, which
Right.
we've written several songs together. He's a great dude, and he's got a lot going on. Actually, wrote the song More with him, by the way.
Yeah. Now, is it more?
He's
I'm trying to think how I'm going to phrase this question because it could come out kind of sounding weird.
Hey, bring it on, brother.
Is it? How does it feel? Because obviously, when you record your own songs, you're like, "Oh, that's me." But when somebody else takes your song, for example, Spencer Crandall or Colt Ford, what is that feeling like? Besides from, because obviously the business side of Eric Dodd is going to be like, "That's cool. I'll now have this under my coat." But then it's also like you're going to be freaking out a little bit because you know, especially have Colt Ford. You're like, Colt Ford, this is going to be legit. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if that
No,
makes
man, I
sense,
love it.
but
Yeah, absolutely. And the Colt Ford song's called Dynamite. I wrote with my buddy
yep,
Alex Hall, an incredible singer-songwriter. He'll blow up in the next few years, I'm sure. But that one, I knew Colt from Georgia. He's a big golfer. He grew up in Athens. So I had a great connection with him and said, "Hey, man, do you mind if I, send you some songs?" He said, "Absolutely, anytime," which was so gracious of him, because he kind of knows my story, and he
okay.
knows how tough it is in the music business. So him just taking my email was so cool, and he came back and said, "Man, I'd love to record Dynamite, and may I do it?" And we said, "Absolutely, great opportunity for us as
No, you can't
songwriters."
record it. No, I don't think you can record. I
Right,
think we're looking
right.
for somebody
Hey,
else.
you never know, man. But he did a great job with that, and I'm so humbled by um, folks recording songs I've written. And in Spencer's case, he's a great, incredible songwriter, as is Colt. But Spencer and I have written probably 15 songs together, so his stamps on it. It's not like we're pitching Spencer songs. He knows what he wants to say in the room, and
Mhm.
that we're just trying to help tell his story. So, um, I love being able to do that, and that's what is so great about Nashville, right? I'm writing songs for myself as an artist, and also get to be a part of Spencer's story, Ainsley Davidson's, um, whomever, man. So
But
it's
is there ever that feeling of, wow, this song is so good, I may need to keep it for myself, but then you're like, people are pressuring you, no, you need to send it off, you need to send it off. Is there ever
yeah,
that
there's
feeling and
definitely
you
that.
don't know what to do?
Yeah. I mean, they're like a lot of people say, you're kind of song babies, right? And you're like,
Sure.
oh, we can always write another one, but some are more special than others.
Right.
To be honest, like sometimes there's that moment that it might be a little more heart in it
Hmm.
and a little more real life. So yeah, I have a few of those that I'm actually going to put out next year that I'm not pitching to anyone. I want them for myself. It's my story. So um, yeah, I'm totally with you. There's definitely a few of those songs which are, a little closer to the chest.
Now, since how long have you been in Nashville doing the musician thing?
7 years here,
7
and
years.
I've been full time in the music business for 10 years.
Okay. I've been doing my podcast almost 5 years. So, and it's just going to lead to my question is, who has been there in Nashville that you've seen just from small and then now they're big, like they just blew up? Because for me, I knew a lot of people that had connections through Luke Combs, and I remember they were like, "Okay, you need to get Luke Combs on." I was like, "Yeah, I don't really know who that guy is," so obviously I was like,
Yeah.
"No, that's not." But then it was like 8 months later, the guy was gigantic, and he is where he is now.
Yeah, well, he's the first one I would say. We're kind of in the same class. We moved to town around the
Right,
same
right, right.
time. We've done songwriter rounds together. He's uh he's just a special dude. He's got an amazing voice. He's an amazing writer. He had a really great fan base in North Carolina, and people just love him. And I know exactly why, because he's the real deal. So that would be, I mean, he's like the biggest thing in country music right now, and has been, and probably will be for a long time. So that would be the first one that comes to mind. And man, who else? I think my friend Alex Hall will be hitting pretty soon. Um, man, so many. I've seen Riley Green blow up. Uh,
Now I got a question for you about Riley Green.
Folks like that.
Now I've had Alejandro, which is his bass player, on, and we're good friends. And what was
Oh,
surprising
cool.
to me was the past, whichever the award was, and they were giving away New Artist of the Year. It was between Morgan Wallen and Riley Green. I was shocked as crap to see Riley Green take that over Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, they're both great artists,
No,
man.
absolutely, absolutely. But I
I
was
can't speak
looking
to
at it
that. I
as,
like them. I like them both a lot, but
yeah.
yeah.
Few more questions here, man. I know you're short on time and you're almost done here. Um,
You're good, dude.
I,
Thanks
I
again
do
for
these.
having me. It's been a
Yeah,
blast.
I do these things, and they're called question answer, and it's just a real quick question, a real quick answer. So sometimes they're hard. They allow more time to think, which is fine. I've had people spend 10 minutes on one question thinking, and I'm just sitting there like, I need to play the Jeopardy theme real quick.
That's right.
But
I love it. Yeah, bring
what
it
is
on, bro.
what is one thing you have to have in your house, like snack wise, where you just like, okay, I can't have just one. I have to indulge in it.
Uh, Ruffles baked cheddar and sour cream.
Now, do you consider those to be the best chips? Because a lot of people that eat those consider like those are the best chips they've ever made.
Man, I'm a big chip guy. Yeah, those are up there. Uh, Doritos, always good. Um, Even classic Lay's, and then put a little ketchup on there. I know that's weird.
Ketchup.
Plain Lay's classic, little dip of ketchup, maybe a little hot sauce.
Well, I guess that's no different than putting it on a
Telling you,
sandwich.
that's right.
I
Exactly.
guess if you put ketchup on a
Yeah.
sandwich, but um,
Or cheeseburger, right?
or
You need the
cheeseburger. There you
crunch.
go. There you go.
Yeah. I know
What's the
that's
last?
weird, but try it. Try it. You'll
No,
thank me later.
it's not weird, but I probably won't try it. But I don't think it's weird.
Okay. Well, report back if you do, please.
Okay. What's the last book you've read?
Last book. Well, there's one I'm reading right now. I'm almost finished with the Matthew McConaughey book, Green Lights.
I just finished that, brother. How great of a book is that?
Man, that guy's so good, man. He's inspiring. He's so smart, driven. I mean, I still watch that speech. I can't remember which show it was on. But it like brings me to tears. It's him talking about his dad and talking about him,
Yeah.
who is his hero, right? And it's
Sure.
like
Yeah.
himself, like his better self, and he keeps chasing that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that guy.
Yeah. That Green Lights book, I was not expecting it, and the reason I got it because I like his movies okay, but my mom, that's like her celebrity crush. That's her hall pass, and
My
so
wife's
it was,
too. Yeah,
and it was like
who's not?
I got it
Find
as
me
a
if you have,
joke.
but it's not a celebrity crush. Yeah.
I got it as a joke. Not really a joke, but just like, hey, look what I got you don't have. And then I was like, I started reading it. And I'm like, now I'm going through Netflix watching all of his movies.
Yeah, there you go.
Just because it's like, it was fantastic.
So good, dude.
What about celebrity crush, male and female?
Oh gosh. All right, female. Penelope Cruz.
Okay.
Interesting, right? Interesting. Not what you were
Interesting.
expecting.
Yeah, sure.
Male. Zach Galifianakis. How about that?
Wow. That's two totally different people.
Yeah. I think he's great. I think he's hilarious.
Now,
He
when you're
is,
looking when you're looking at a celebrity crush or just a crush in general, how are you looking at them? Are you because Penelope Cruz and Zach Galifianakis, those are two different people. So, are you looking at the humor side, the beauty side, or kind of like their expertise side?
Well, I think Penelope Cruz is an amazing actress. I mean, she's been in so many just classic movies of our time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously beautiful, very, very intelligent. And that accent, bro. Come on now. Come on, bro. Zach, I mean, I just think he's one of the funniest of our time and day.
Right.
And just his delivery. I mean, The Hangover, all the hangovers. I mean, he's brilliant, dude.
Let me ask you. I want to ask you a question about The Hangover because that was my next question. When you mentioned Zach Galifianakis, do you think and agree with me that they fell off after the first one?
I mean, typically the first one's always the best.
Right, but the second one,
I thought they did okay.
Okay.
I thought they did okay.
Right.
I mean, call the first one a 10. Second
Sure.
one was an 8.3. Third one, there were 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. And the third was 7.1. So, I mean, definitely some highlights in the second one too. But number 1 was just so good. So good. So many belly laughs in that first one.
That was one of the movies that I cried in laughing at the first one. And then it's like, there's just so many memorable parts. But then the second one, it's like, he shot the monkey. That's really the only one where I'm like.
I know. They go over the top a little bit, but still really good. Some good moments. Yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
Okay. Let's go like serious movie first. And I've got to do a comedy. I'm a big comedy guy.
Me too.
Shoot, man. All right. Serious movie, The Godfather trilogies. Or Scarface.
Never watched them, but never watched them, but I assume that's a. I assume
You're
that's
younger than me, though.
Yeah, but
yeah, you got to do it. Do yourself a favor there. You don't have to do the Lay's with ketchup, but do the Godfather.
But aren't they like 3.5 hours long each?
Very long, very long. Find a very rainy day where you don't have anything to do.
And well, see, I'm supposed to still watch Harry Potter, all the Harry Potters. So like, I got a long list of lines.
My wife is on me about Harry Potter's. I haven't done it either, but I don't know if I'll ever find the time to do that or the strength to sit through it.
I found the time
maybe
to watch
I'll love it.
Star Wars.
I'll love it. Yeah, that's a must. So The Godfather you have to do,
Okay.
report back there, Dylan, and Scarface. So there's a tie. Like I said, big Al Pacino guy. And golly, comedy, movie. I've got to give you a comedy. Man, Something About Mary. There's Something About Mary. Ben Stiller, Cameron
I'm
Diaz.
I'm a big Ben Stiller fan as well. One of my
Me-
probably my favorite movie of all time is Meet the Parents, just because
Great.
just
Great
because it
movie.
was just because it was so different. And for me, watching it when I was younger was kind of like, those are so memorable lines from there. And my next question would be, what's your favorite line from a movie? And mine just so happens to be from Meet the Parents, which is, "Can you milk a cat, Greg?" "Yeah, you can milk anything with
Yeah, yeah.
nipples." That is my favorite line of the movie because it's
Can you
funny
help
and
me?
it's very unexpected.
Golly. One-liner. Jeez. This might take a minute.
Or not a one-liner, but your favorite line from a movie, period. Doesn't have to be a one-liner.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. All right, come back to that one. I'll be thinking as you ask more.
Okay. What's that one artist that just captivated you and you were like, whoa?
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. Have you read any of his books?
I have not.
Okay.
I
Here
don't
is
think I
my
have, no. I don't think I own any, but I'll get
I
on that.
I own both of the autobiographies he's read, but here's where I'm conflicted
Say
about.
that. Maybe I have, like right when Walk the Line came out. I was so
Yeah.
intrigued. Maybe I have read one autobiography.
But here's where I'm conflicted at. I wonder if, because the first one was from like the 70s, and this was after he got off his drugs and et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm. Yeah.
He says that he one day just decided, screw it, I don't want to be on these drugs anymore, locked himself in, stuff like that. But then like there's other books, biographies, and the June Carter Cash's autobiography, where she's like, no, we made him do it. We locked him in. And I'm just like, was he just so high he don't remember what happened and he's playing it out like he did?
Jeez, there's no telling. There's no telling. But he was such an artist, such a voice, and just the way he could deliver a song, man, it's
Mhm.
just totally captivated by that guy.
What's one album? Doesn't have to necessarily be by the artist, but one album that you
Nirvana,
just,
Nevermind.
man, there we go. Man,
Yeah, first.
that's such a fantastic album. I mean, it's
Why I started playing guitar, Kurt Cobain and Nirvana.
really,
Yeah,
you know, I'm not a big Machine Gun Kelly fan, but he was started doing these pop rock records, and to me, they have so much Kurt Cobain Nirvana aspect in them that I'm like, this is one of the greatest rock albums in the past 2 years, and like it's literally on repeat. I'm just like, whoa, this is something different from MGK that I'm just like, I have to listen to it.
dude. Again, back to my brother. He's a huge MGK fan. I've
Okay,
listened to him some, and I think he's great. But I could see he's definitely been influenced by Nirvana and kind of the '90s alternative rock scene.
last couple questions for you, man. I'll let you go. What
You're good,
is
bro.
what is one question you always get at an interview that you know they're going to ask without even hesitation?
I guess your major influences as an artist, which I think you've done a good job, like asking that, but not asking that. Like I like how you
Sure.
said, "What's your favorite album?" And then your favorite artist or the artist that you just like were captivated by. I think you
Sure.
asked that great. But yeah, that question comes up time and time again, which is a great question too.
Flip the coin. What's one question you never, ever will get in an interview and you wish you would get that question?
Hmm.
Or a topic that you know you love to talk besides golf, because that's in your on your website and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They'll know that. Besides, there are a topic,
they
not a
know that.
question, or a topic that you never get.
I see what you're doing here because you're going to ask this to your next guest, aren't you?
I'm actually going to ask that to you.
Okay. I see where you're going. Jeez. I mean, my wife is a big part of my story. So how did you meet your wife? I don't think I've ever gotten that question. Maybe I
How
have,
did
but
how did you meet your wife? You got it now.
there you go.
Because I didn't
Um,
even know. I guess I weren't following you on Instagram or whatever until just now when we followed each other. I didn't realize you were married or anything like that. So that's kind of
yeah,
a cool
there you
thing for
go.
me where I'm like, wow, that's something I didn't know about.
So I wrote the song "The Reason" about my wife Anna,
Okay.
and we did a music video for the song, and it's streamed like 4 million times. It's probably my
Wow.
most
Okay.
successful song, and she starred in the music video, which made it to CMT's 12-pack countdown and made it to #1. So that's a special song for so many reasons. But we met. She grew up in Athens, Georgia. I kind of mentioned that earlier,
Hmm.
and we've been friends since we were like 15 years old, and we were always friends until 7 years ago when we were both finally single at the same time. Um, I played golf at a small school called Georgia College and State University. My golf game peaked at like age 19. So I transferred to the University of Georgia in Athens and studied the music business. She was at Georgia. We, maintained a friendship, and she was like the cool girl that you could kind of be yourself around, right? And
Hmm.
not in like a way that you're trying to date her. So we she came to a show in Atlanta, and we'd kind of been like texting or whatever, just like, hey, yeah, you live in Atlanta. I'm moving to Nashville, but please come to the show. I'll put you on the guest list, that kind of thing, just as a friend. And that night she came with my now brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And after the show, my brother-in-law was like, hey man, she's single now. It's like, I am too. That's cool. He's like, I was wearing a hat that night. And he was like,
Hmm.
she's like, she thinks you're cute, but you'd be like really cute if you took that hat off. So of course I'm like taking the hat off, running to the bathroom, putting water in my hair, because she's an amazing person and woman. She's an oncology nurse here in Nashville. So
Oh, okay, cool.
um, we finally we were finally single at the same time 7 years ago, right before I moved here, of
But
course,
there
and
were
created the
never,
one.
but there were never any feelings when you were friends. Like there was never that itch of wow, I wish she would
I
just,
mean,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
I
not
mean,
trying to make it weird, but
yeah, maybe honestly, like, yeah, she's great. So I'm sure that crossed my mind, and I doubt it crossed hers, but maybe mine. um, but yeah, the stars finally aligned, man, and it's crazy. We've been friends for 15 years, and finally in the right place at the right time, and both single. And I took her on a date the next day, and the rest they say is history. So there's the question I've never asked. You're the first one to ask it, and I hope I did okay with it.
you did great with it. Well,
Thank
man,
you.
I appreciate you being on here for this hour that you were scheduled for. Go ahead, take all the time you need, put out whatever you want, socials, Instagram, whatever you got to promote it.
Thank you for that, man. And it's a pleasure to meet you. I appreciate what you're
Yeah, you
doing
too, man. Hmm.
for us independent artists. I guess, yeah, check me out on Instagram. That's where I am mostly posting and hanging out. Um, Eric Dodd Music, ERICDODD Music. I'm on Facebook as well. Find me there. Twitter, Eric Dodd Music, same thing. I'm not a big TikTok guy, uh, but what else we got? Yeah, I got a clothing line coming out, Ashore Apparel, ASHOR, basically Ashore without the E. And this our tagline is where water meets land. So it's a lot of like cool hunting T-shirts and long sleeve T-shirts, and also like some beach wear. So it's kind of the on the water kind of thing, and also on land. And
Okay,
we're
I
gonna do
got
a
you.
cool golf T-shirt, and um, we've also partnered. I'm part of that company, but we've partnered as me, the artist, like co-designing a T-shirt for me, and my brand is Eric Dodd, and
Okay.
it's a cool Masters kind of inspired T-shirt. So Ashore Apparel, We're on Instagram. And then, yeah, you'll be hearing about Ansley Davidson coming real soon. Follow her. Her name is spelled really cool, actually. Anslee Davidson Music. So she's on Instagram too, and she's really, really awesome. Yeah, Ansley Davidson Music. Got to look to make sure. So yeah, man, that's it. Keep in touch with me, man, and
Yeah, man. Look, when you
holler at
get
me when
your
you're in Nashville. All right.
yeah, absolutely. Once you get your apparel and your clothing line launched and whatever else music you got coming out, we'll get you back on and we'll let you promote all that. Talk about that.
Man, I would appreciate that. I'll hang out here anytime.
Yep. Cool, man.
And I'll
Appreciate
send
it.
you a I'll send you a hat and T-shirt.